Good morning. It is 7 a.m. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will have all our news in just a moment and take your calls. Our phone lines are open even at this early hour. 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. We got a winter storm headed our way, so let's head straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta. And by the way, it is National Pork Rind and National Peppermint Patty Day. I hope you realize that and you are prepared in your household, Mike. We have a first, second, third
That's something to stock up for before the winter storm. Some very
People like having
something
those
to keep you
dry
warm.
pork rinds.
Yeah, or a pepper and patty to cool it down. You know, there is a little bit of snow on the way for most of New Jersey, but the more significant snow is in the southern part of the state. Take a look down south. So Atlantic County down toward Cape May County, winter storm warnings. That's until 7 a.m. tomorrow, as well as a winter weather advisory here for the rest of southern New Jersey and parts of central New Jersey as well. That includes Monmouth County, Ocean County, and back over toward Burlington County. There will be some pretty heavy snows that come in later on this evening, with the Futurecast giving us a clear start to the day. Clouds increase through this afternoon. As soon as that school bell rings, we'll start to see the snowflakes falling down across portions of Cape May and Atlantic counties. That northward throughout the evening rush until reaching northern New Jersey by 10 o'clock tonight. With that heavy snow coming down, it will come down at a good clip because the storm center is just offshore. A nice northeasterly wind pushing in, keeping things cool and damp. That will clear by tomorrow morning. So it's going to be a messy but snow-free morning. There won't be any active snow falling during your Wednesday morning commute. By Wednesday evening, round 2 comes in, and this is a little bit warmer. So notice the line here between the snow and the rain in green off to the south, basically north of the turnpike, your snow. South and east of the turnpike stays rain and mixing with some sleet and freezing rain. That goes right through tomorrow evening and lasts up until about 2, 3 in the morning with the frozen precip. But I think the rain this time could linger through the morning rush, giving us a very messy commute throughout Thursday until that clears out by Thursday afternoon. Snowfall totals for round 1, that's later tonight into tomorrow morning, could be upwards of 4 or 5 inches here in this dark shade of blue, maybe as much as 6. And then the lighter shades of blue are about 2 to 4 inches. Northern New Jersey only picks up a light dusting, 1 to 2 at most. It won't really snow for that long. And again, that dry air not really working in northern New Jersey's favor. Then round 2 that comes in tomorrow night puts on an additional 1 to 2 inches in northern New Jersey, but that rain in southern New Jersey kind of compacts the snow that already falls, giving us just more of a mess to deal with by Thursday morning. Like I mentioned, a little bit of a slushy, maybe some light flooding issues due to the drainage problems after that heavy rainfall after 4 or 5 or 6 inches of snow. It's cold up in Sussex County, 10 degrees right now, 27 in Newark, and 19 in Toms River. You feel that chill in the air, even with light winds. It's not all that breezy. The wind chill, anything greater than a sneeze will make it feel like 16. Over in Morristown, 20 in Flemington, and 21 in Trenton. That's a solid 20 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. You can thank the fresh snowpack and the clear sky to allow that number to drop quickly. Everywhere else across the state, anywhere from 4 to 9 degrees cooler. So after a very busy day today, beginning this evening, especially in southern New Jersey, we'll wake up tomorrow with a fresh round of snow. It's quiet most of tomorrow, and then another round of rain comes in tomorrow night, lingering through Thursday morning. Friday, best looking day on the 7-day because there's more snow and rain this week. And we'll show you that part of the forecast with the 7-day forecast, Ken. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. Couple of traffic incidents we want to point out really fast is that incident we had on I-80 yesterday in Wharton, New Jersey. We still have emergency construction closing down I-80 eastbound at exit 34 in Wharton. All lanes are closed. They're being diverted off right now. That's going to be a while, probably a few days before they get that. It's like a 40, 50, 60-foot round sinkhole they got to fix up. Also, as of just about 20 minutes ago, we have a disabled tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike, Hudson County Extension, eastbound outside exit for interchange 14 I-78 Newark, 1 center lane blocked. 7:04 is our time. In just a couple of moments, we'll be speaking with a state assemblyman about an issue with Easy Pass. So stay tuned for that. The Justice Department on Monday ordered federal prosecutors to drop corruption charges against New York City's mayor, Eric Adams, arguing the case was interfering with the mayor's ability to aid the president's crackdown on illegal immigration. In a two-page memo, the Department of Justice told New York prosecutors they were directed to dismiss the bribery charges against Adams immediately. You'll recall Mayor Adams was only charged with bribery after he appeared to speak out against the Biden administration's policy on sending illegal migrants to New York City. The acting head of FEMA said yesterday that he's suspending payments sent to New York City to house migrants, and that staff who made those payments will be held accountable after Elon Musk blasted the transactions on X. Musk, who as head of Doge, posted on X that his team had discovered FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. He said the money's intended for disaster relief and must come back to the federal government. FEMA was supposed to stop all those payments by last week. The Senate voted mostly along party lines last night to advance Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to serve as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence, putting her on a path to confirmation later this week, possibly as soon as today. The 52-46 vote brings the Senate's debate over Gabbard's qualifications close to an end. When confirmed either today or tomorrow, she will be in charge of putting together President Trump's daily intelligence briefing and will lead 1,750 employees at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, overseeing the nation's 18 intelligence agencies. Trump tapped her for the nation's top intelligence job because he vowed that she would be a disruptor who will take on Washington's establishment. And Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has accused the FBI of corruption, alleging the Bureau leaked plans for immigration enforcement in the LA area. Noem condemned the leaks and has vowed to take action against the leakers, presumably up to termination or prosecuting them. Immigration was a key element of President Trump's campaign and helped Republicans sweep to power. A large majority of Americans surveyed support the deportation of illegal migrants. And remember those 80,000 armed IRS enforcement agents the former President Biden had hired to go after tax-paying American citizens who may have made a mistake on their tax returns? Well, they got a new job. The president's now sending them to go down and help Border Patrol agents at the southern border. And if they don't like their new assignment, they could take a hike. It is 7:07. President Trump said yesterday a fragile ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas should be canceled if Hamas doesn't release all remaining hostages by midday Saturday. Though he added that the ultimate decision would be up to Israel. Trump was responding to Hamas, saying that it would delay the further release of hostages in Gaza after accusing Israel of violating the 3-week-old ceasefire. Trump said that after the freeing of 3 emaciated hostages Saturday, it was time for Israel to demand the release of all hostages by noon Saturday, or the war would begin again. When asked what would happen to Hamas if the hostages weren't released by Saturday, the president said, Hamas will find out what I mean. 7:07, a major U.S. tolling company that was sold to a Singapore-based firm under the Biden administration is reigniting national security concerns over its link to China after it won the Easy Pass contract for the New Jersey Turnpike for $250 million more than Conduent Incorporated, which is a Newark-based company that had operated it for 22 years. On top of that, we find out this formerly Nashville-based company, TransCore, is now owned by the Singapore-based company, Singapore Technologies Engineering, and it has close ties to China, communist China. So you do the math. If you have Easy Pass in New Jersey, this new company now has access to all your sensitive personal information, including your name, address, phone number, social security number, license plate, your car's VIN number, where you travel and when. And China can gain access to all of it. Joining us now is a New Jersey Assemblyman Paul Kenitra to talk about it. Welcome to you, Assemblyman Kenitra. Do I have all this correct so far?
Yeah, you got it, and it is convoluted at best, wouldn't you say?
I mean, what's crazy is you have a not just an American-based company, but a Newark-based company that not only handled Easy Pass for New Jersey, but for 80% of the United States that has Easy Pass. No one seems to have a problem with them, and everything's going fine. In comes a company from the Midwest that immediately got sold to Singapore, which has ties to China. And like looking at the first shiny object in the room, we change our company from the Newark company to the Singapore company and give them an additional $250 million. I mean, if that doesn't stink of potential fraud, I don't know what does.
And that's the most concerning part about all of this, right? Like, first and foremost, we're generally supposed to take the lowest bid contract in New Jersey. We're supposed to be responsible to the taxpayers. And this wasn't a couple $1,000 difference, a $250 million difference in contracts when the existing operator was doing a fairly good job. Some people had some problems with the egregiously high penalties that were being charged. But I can't imagine that that was the catalyst. And that's one of the things that we're trying to uncover. I represent the Jersey Shore, the 10th Legislative District, but as a state assemblyman, obviously, you have some oversight over the entire state operations. And we're trying to ask those questions. Why why did they actually throw out an efficient operator, and why were they willing to pay $250 million more of taxpayer monies? And then why did this contract get sold so incredibly quickly? Because then it starts to go down a rabbit hole when you start looking into ST Engineering. Their majority shareholder is Temasek Holdings. Temasek is a Singapore state-owned company. We all know Singapore has kind of concerning ties to the Communist Chinese Party. In fact, the longtime chairman of their board was a high-ranking member of the Chinese Communist Party up until he resigned a couple months ago when this started to come to light. So it's all very concerning, and it really requires a lot of questions. Luckily, from what we are hearing, the contract isn't fully finalized right now, and that's what we're trying to intercede on.
Well, isn't it true though that the Governor Murphy, actually, this is the second time he has a contract with this company, not just the first. And the question is, where's the transparency? Who ultimately was responsible for signing off on this? And why did nobody jump up and say, "What are you doing?"
As you well know, a lot of this stuff is very nuanced. It's in the weeds. These contracts and the bids that go out are dozens, if not longer, pages long. The average American, let alone most state assembly offices and everybody else out there, including media, has a hard time tracking it all and following all the bouncing balls, right? So stuff like this tends to slip through the cracks sometimes. It's great that there's actual media coverage on it, because I don't think that it's going to be able to get fully dodged for much longer. I do know that the New Jersey Turnpike Authority is still deciding on this. So hopefully the coverage, hopefully some of the questions that you and I and everybody else are asking are going to have to be answered before they do finalize that, because they're going to have to justify it now.
Well, what are TransCore's responsibility? In other words, for this money, $1.7 billion that they're getting. I mean, it seems that in an era of automation, it shouldn't cost $1.7 billion to maintain something that's totally computerized. So what are the responsibilities under the contract? And and is it possible now that, as you mentioned, that this is brought to light, we could dump them and go back to the New York-based company?
Well, right. Although one of the main problems is that TransCore has already, as of September, taken over customer service operations, right? So how you unwind that, again, is probably not that difficult a component. They're very interested, ST Technologies, in the electric vehicle market. That might have been one of their motivations for wanting to jump into this. But the ability that they would have to track all of our automobiles and our daily drives and where we're starting and where we're going to, that's the most concerning part. And you have to ask yourself, not only why did this happen, but why did they want it so badly? Why did they purchase this just a short period of time after the contract went through? And again, more questions that need answers.
And again, why? Who has the BALLS? Excuse me, it's cable. I could say that. Who has the what, the chutzpah to look? I mean, to take a company that's going to cost the state $250 million. I mean, like you said, this isn't like 12 million more. $250 million, and slip it in like no one's going to notice. What is the state budget? I mean, you're talking about like 3% of the entire state budget. That's how much more this is going to cost to have a company that's Chinese connected run our business. And let me point something out for people who aren't thinking like, why does it matter to me? Who cares? Okay, you're cheating on your wife. There's the communist Chinese know your goings. They know where your car was. If you're an elected official, you're now primed for bribing. Because if you're sneaking out and you're an
W-
elected official, I'm not saying you assemblyman, if one is an elected official and you're going from point A to point B to point C, this company can now track where you go because everywhere along the highway, not just at the tolls, there are sensors because the sensors ostensibly are used to tell what speed you're going. Those sensors can also tell where you are, where you're headed. That company would have access to all of that, right? And they could potentially bribe an elected official.
Look, exactly. And in our outreach, we reached out to the Office of Legislative Services, and the number one thing that we were asking as we asked them to look into the contract itself and see how can it be unwound was, can it be unwound because of national security implications? There's genuine national security implications here, and that's the motivation and that's the rationale that we're trying to use to dig into this. If that doesn't work, our office is also prepared to send a request to the U.S. Department of Treasury to prevent any acquisition if necessary, and we're ready to put in a bill if it's needed as well. The one good thing, I mean, if you want to call it a good thing that I would say that's come out of all this is that ST Engineering has voluntarily filed for CFIUS, which is the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, and that does provide an even deeper layer of oversight and kind of moves it out of the state realm a little bit. Although there's been some precedent, I think I saw on Fox Business News that they already suggested that the acquisition is going to go through because previous acquisitions have been approved like this, which is even more concerning. But the fact that they have filed for CFIUS means there's going to be an extra layer of oversight to ask some of these questions. I'll go back and maybe I'll end with this because I think this applies whether it's offshore wind and some of the decisions that have been made there and with energy that have cost the state a ton of money, New Jersey Transit and their $500 million new shiny headquarters that we had to raise the corporate tax for. Follow the money, right? Dig into the individuals around this, dig into the companies around this, look at the politicians involved in this, look at the PACs around this, and see where the connections are.
Well, Assemblyman, you always find the Democrats always involved in these somewhat sketchy schemes. This was done under the Biden administration. The Biden administration approved using this company. Then you had the Democrat governor of New Jersey, the Murphy administration approving this not once, but twice. And, to go against a U.S. company and go with a company that is connected to the communist Chinese for 250 million more, you got to assume every Democrat along the way, and I'm just guessing, I don't know this, every Democrat along the way developed a Swiss bank account that we're going to find out about a few years from now. It just stinks to high heaven. I don't know how you deal with it when you're in the state assembly, but you're a much more patient man than me. I hope you come back and give us updates on this story. New Jersey Assemblyman Paul Kenitra, I thank you so much for joining us on New Jersey this morning.
Really appreciate the level of detail here. I hope your listeners and viewers do as well, because this is all going to come out at some point.
I'm sure it will. Well, I hope you're here so we could say I told you so soon enough. Thank you so much, Assemblyman. Have a great day. It is
You
7:18
too.
right
Talk to you
now.
soon.
We have 20. Thank you, sir. 21 chilly degrees. When we come back, another check of the Garden State forecast. Winter storm on the way. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will have all the details. The further south you are in Jersey, the worse it will be. You are watching On New Jersey Mornings. Phone lines are open, by the way, 888-658-0234. Tell me I'm full of baloney when it comes to talking about the Democrats that way. 888-658-0234. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 7:20, temperature 22 degrees, chilly, and we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a midweek winter blast headed for a good chunk of New Jersey. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. Yeah, there's a heavy amount of snow coming in tonight for portions of southern New Jersey. The bigger picture showing where that storm is now and the damage it will do as it marches across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic throughout this afternoon and tonight. Not arriving here in New Jersey until later on this evening. In fact, I'll show you that right now with the potential for some higher snow amounts right now in southern New Jersey. That area in red, this is as the storm center, which is just offshore, really intensifies and strengthens. You can see those arrows coming in from the north and east, pulling in all of that extra moisture. That'll be impacting places, say LBI south, with the potential for up to 5 or 6 inches of snow. Everywhere in the state picks up some snow tonight, but the most extreme accumulations worthy of a winter storm warning are down south of the Atlantic City Expressway. Notice with the bigger picture again, pulling back, you see where the storm is. There's a lot of moisture here, and as the system gets going, there's plenty of cold air in place across New Jersey. That will allow for that snow to begin falling shortly this afternoon and continue throughout the rest of this evening into tonight. So the forecast today, we're quiet up until about 3-4 o'clock. That's when the skies really start to become ominous and the snow begins falling, working its way from the southern portion of the state through central New Jersey as temperatures stay in the mid-30s. How can it snow at 36 degrees? It's dynamic. There's a little bit more to it than just 32-degree reading on a Futurecast map. But with all of that snow beginning later on tonight, working its way northward into the overnight hours, spreading right up into Sussex County. The further south you are, the heavier the snow, the more accumulation. It all wraps up by sunrise tomorrow. We are clear for daybreak with just a few clouds around, but no active snow falling. Then another round of snow comes in for tomorrow evening, really toward the tail end of the evening rush, with rain falling south and east of the turnpike. It's a little bit warmer this time, but the heavier snow will likely happen in the northern half of the state for tomorrow night, taking us right up until after midnight, and then some of that rain lingers into early Thursday morning. So a couple of messy commutes ahead. Really enjoy today because it's the last time we're going to have a decent go of things, at least until Friday. The snowfall amounts will be anywhere from 4 to 8 inches down where you see the darker shade of blue in southern sections of Atlantic County and Cape May County. Northern portions of the state could pick up a little bit less, and then another round later on tonight adding another inch or two. That's why the ice impacts will be most predominant north and west of 287, where you see some minor impacts of that freezing and refreezing each and every day. In fact, this weekend, there is yet another round of winter weather. It starts off as snow on Saturday, changes to rain, and then by Sunday, starts off as rain and changes back to snow. So really, the weather just keeps us on our toes. The only quiet day, Ken, is on Friday, where we've got beautiful sunshine and great weather to head out and maybe enjoy a lovely Valentine's evening.
Oh, look at you. Thanks for planning it that way. I like when you do that. Somebody should pay
My
you for
pleasure.
this. All right, Mike, thank you. It is 22 degrees now at 7:24, and we told you about this during yesterday's show. A sinkhole formed on eastbound I-80 in Wharton, forcing the closure of the major highway during the morning rush. And now the cause of the sinkhole has been revealed. That hole was 40 by 40 feet, formed on the right shoulder of eastbound I-80 near 34, the exit. Officials with the New Jersey Department of Transportation say it was caused by the collapse of an abandoned mine shaft. Apparently, there are a number of abandoned iron mines in the area dating back to the 1800s. I remember when they were built. It's believed that the area was once home to as many as 445 iron mines. The DOT doesn't know when that section of I-80 will reopen, but right now, if you're headed in that direction, on that area, exit 37 on I-80, eastbound, that you will be detoured off. So beware of that. 725, there is concern in Washington that some of our lawmakers are simply too old to do their jobs. We all watched as Joe Biden rapidly aged in the White House, barely able to finish a sentence or walk across the room by the time his term was over. In fact, Pam, this is what we were just talking about. I'm going to talk to our director, so I lied. I want to bring that up right now if we can. Senator Mitch McConnell famously suffered a mental freeze, you'll recall, some months back that had many concern that he was having a stroke. And now just the other day, McConnell fell at the Capitol. And yesterday, check this out, as he was loaded on into his SUV, You see, they're trying to block the view. But the poor man is in a wheelchair. He's unable to get up on his own energy. In fact, it looks like he's barely able to move, even his arms. And this just raises concern about how old is too old. We had Biden who was unable to walk on his own and think and talk on his own. So we don't know who was really running the country. And now, Mitch McConnell has been a public servant for decades. God bless him, from Kentucky. And he was, of course, the most powerful man in the Senate for many years. But is it time for him to go? And not to sound cruel to kick a man while he's down, but this has many people concerned for the senator's future. The 82-year-old Republican has 23 months left in this term. And not to be outdone, 76-year-old Democrat Congressman John Larson of Connecticut had a medical episode while he was speaking on the floor of the House yesterday. Check this out. Watch. All right. So Larson is speaking, and then he pauses, and he pauses. And everyone just assumes it's a dramatic pause, but he can't regain composure. See? He stands there, and it was for over 40 seconds. He just couldn't. And you notice what he's doing with the mouth? That's exactly what Mitch McConnell did when he froze during the summer. And they just went wide because it was awkward to stay on him tight. So this happened yesterday. He paused, it turns out, for close to a minute before he regained his composure. And his spokesperson says that Larson experienced a bad reaction to a new medication, but that's what they're saying. But there just comes a point when you just might want to consider age being a factor when you do your voting. So think about that. 727 new information shows this year's flu season is shattering records, topping numbers that date to the early 2000s. And New Jersey, one of the states with the highest flu numbers. Don't we all know somebody who has the flu right now? Nearly 50,000 people were admitted to hospitals with the flu nationwide. 10 children died of the disease during the fifth week of the year. The CDC says there have been 24 million cases nationwide, 310,000 hospitalizations, 13,000 deaths from the flu since October 1st. Just to make you think about that, there were way fewer COVID deaths in that same period if you look back several years ago, but we shut down an entire country for it. It's sad, it's terrible, it's tragic, but we lose 25, 30,000 people a year to the flu. And we didn't shut down the country for that ever, just to put that in perspective. Only 44%, by the way, of all adults got a flu shot this year, probably because people had it up to here with COVID shots and being told they had to get it. So a lot of people are now reticent to get any kind of a shot, which is not a good thing because we do need some of these shots. Some positive news, though, as I mentioned, COVID-19 and RSV cases are actually down at this point versus last year. 728, just months after the slaying of United Healthcare's CEO, suspect Luigi Mangione has raised almost $250,000 for his legal defense. The online fund has a goal of $500,000 with more than 10,000 supporters already contributing. The December 4th Legal Committee, that's the name that contains the date of CEO Brian Thompson's murder, says that it would continue to raise funds throughout an expected trial. The vast majority of donors are younger and more female than male. Sadly, too many way too easily overlook the fact that surveillance video allegedly shows Mangione killing that CEO, who was a father and a husband, in cold blood as the man was simply walking along a Manhattan sidewalk. It is 22 degrees at 729. The phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. And when we come back, the changing habits of TV viewing and what it means for the industry. Plus, meteorologist Mike Favetta again with the wintry Garden State forecast. You are watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen daily on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We're coming right back. Morning. First, we feared TikTok was handing the communist Chinese government our personal information. And could New Jersey's Easy Pass tolling system be doing the same? It is now 22 degrees at 7:32. Good morning. I'm Ken Rosato. That story and more in just a moment. Right now, we head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast, and a midweek wintry blast could be headed our way. Good morning, Mike.
That's right, a two-parter because it comes later on tonight, Ken. We're quiet during the day tomorrow, and then another round of winter weather heads in our direction tomorrow evening. So the snow this afternoon begins late, especially the further north you head across New Jersey. Happens as soon as 3 or 4 o'clock in Cape May, and then spreads across throughout 10 o'clock tonight in the northern part of the state. It's pretty quiet tomorrow with just mostly cloudy skies, but another round of snow, rain, and ice comes in tomorrow night and lasts through Thursday morning. That's our 1-2 punch. And then another round of sun is scheduled for Friday. Great news to wrap up the week, but doesn't stay that way because the weekend is a bit messy yet again. Later on this afternoon, you see that snow begin falling from Ocean City down toward Avalon and Cape May. Temperatures hold just above the freezing mark, but it doesn't have to be 32 degrees in order for it to snow, especially with today's weather scenario. It's plenty cold already, and that snow will get going quickly and stick as soon as it falls, even throughout this evening. The futurecast showing round 1 come in this evening. Round 2 happen tomorrow afternoon and evening, just in time for the evening rush, starting off as a little bit of rain and freezing rain and sleet across southern and central New Jersey, but all snow across north of Route 78, basically, and then another round of steadier showers that takes us into our Thursday morning, which will make for kind of a messy go of things after all that heavy snowfall down south. So precip chances in general are much higher. But notice by Sunday, we pick up another round of heavy rainfall before it drops off by Monday. So good news for the drought. Our drought is improving, especially with these forecast liquid equivalent numbers, anywhere from a half inch to an inch by the end of the day Saturday, and then an additional inch, maybe up to 2 inches by the time we get to early next week. Could even see upwards of 3 inches maybe if all goes well and we really get a good downpour in here, something to help beat the drought, because that severe drought in orange has now extended across northeastern New Jersey, where we could use the rain. It's still pretty bad down across Ocean and Monmouth County, and will stay pretty dry up until this weekend, but I think we'll take every drop we can get, as we're still in that 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit up north, starting to improve with only a half-inch rainfall deficit just in the last 30 days because we've seen all of these snow and rain events. So we say goodbye to the high pressure today that it gave us our clear start to the morning. The snow moves in tonight and out by tomorrow morning. So it's quiet and cloudy for the day on Wednesday, but notice by tomorrow evening, another round of rain and snow comes in, mostly rain south of the turnpike and east, and then we clear out for Friday. Nice way to finish up the work week, but next round of snow and rain is waiting in the wings, and that's what arrives on Saturday afternoon. So this weekend is really messy, specifically Sunday morning. That's when I think we'll see a really heavy round of rain come through with that wet weather before transitioning to some flurries by the afternoon. Early next week, we start off quiet with a clearing that takes place, maybe a few clouds each day, but overall, no big weather makers to start off next week, at least going into the next week of February. President's Day looking nice and quiet. So the 7-day forecast, very busy, especially later tonight into tomorrow morning, again on Thursday. Friday's dry, but the weekend messy with some snow changing to rain and then rain back to snow. And then we're quiet for Monday with a high of 30 degrees. So the cold weather sticks around, at least for the middle of the week. Very busy for you in southern New Jersey, where that winter storm warning is in place for tonight. That's right up until 7 a.m. tomorrow. More rain for you going into Thursday morning, and then quiet again on Friday. Eagles country, enjoying that parade across the Delaware and Philadelphia. Great weather for that. Saturday and Sunday, very messy with that rain and snow coming in. Mostly rain for southern New Jersey, clearing out by Monday. So, Ken, it is a pretty busy next couple of days, keeping us on our toes here.
I'm just wondering what the over-under is, Mike, for how many Eagles fans will remove how many light posts during the parade. I'm just saying. I mean, no criticism of Eagles fans. They just get a little boisterous.
You know how they
Is that
used
safe?
to, or they probably still do. They weld the sewer grates down in the city, and for anti-terrorism purposes. Now they got to like weld the light posts to the
They
to
got
the
to weld
street.
the
It's insane.
cars. They got to weld the cars to the street. It's crazy. All right, Mike, thank you so much. We'll be checking back with you in a little bit. And a couple of traffic incidents, just two I want to point out again. There's still that I-80 emergency construction going on in Wharton because of the sinkhole we announced yesterday. 40-foot round sinkhole. That's because of a collapsed iron mine. This is I-80 eastbound at exit 34. We don't know how long that's going to be there. All lanes are closed. You're being detoured off. So that's a mess through Wharton eastbound I-80. And also on the New Jersey Turnpike, at exit 71 northbound, there are problems on the local lanes, debris on the roadway right now. This is just south of exit 71 by Broad Avenue in Teaneck Township. All lanes are open, but the debris is scattered among all the lanes. So beware of that. You might want to slow down as you go through the area. It is now 22 degrees at 7:37. And did you notice the Super Bowl was actually easily available to stream online this year? You didn't need a subscription either. You just had to get the Tubi app. This was the first year that it was actually available on a free. Joining us now is On New Jersey's founder and streaming TV expert, Gerald D'Ambra. Good morning, Gerald. Good to have you on. And Fox had the rights to the Super Bowl this year, cost them a fortune. So why would they just give it away and put it on Tubi?
Oh, you have to look at the numbers to understand that. Tubi is looking at $1 billion in revenue for 2025. Say that again, $1 billion in revenue. Can you imagine? So, of course, let's bring in a brand new audience using the biggest television audience of the year. Hey, let's get them all to Tubi. It's a great idea. They got everyone to register. So when you log into Tubi, you have to give them your Gmail or log in with Google or another type of login. So they get information, they get all of your demographic information. They know who you are. They can communicate with you. And now they have a massive subscriber base just because of one game. It's pretty
Is
stunning.
connected? Gerald, is Tubi connected to Fox? Are they
Yes.
co-owned or are they
Yeah,
different?
no, Fox,
Okay, I
Fox
didn't
Sports
realize that.
owns Tubi now.
Well,
And
now it
you
makes
can
sense.
see the consolidation in streaming is slowly happening, and the bigger companies are gobbling up, just like CBS purchased Pluto a few years back, and Fox has Tubi. And these platforms are called fast platforms. And they have, if you go on them, you see all of these live TV, linear TV channels. It's like, we call it grandma TV at my house because my grandma still has the old school television with all of the different channels and the channel guide. So you get grandma TV with all of your listings and all of your channels, and those are all streaming channels completely free. And here's why they're so popular: 18 to 34-year-olds love this type of television because they don't want to pay for subscriptions, unlike
Right.
the rest of us who have 4, 5, 6 subscriptions just to make everyone in the house happy. The 18 to 34-year-olds are going the freeway. So the networks are noticing this, and they're starting to put their A content and not their B content on fast and streaming. And it's really, really changing a lot. Another a piece of evidence about how things are really changing. Tim Allen, actor Tim Allen, has a new series called Shifting Gears. Shifting Gears is now the #1 show on ABC because it is their most streamed series ever.
Mm-hmm.
So the audience has adopted going to streaming to get what they like and to get new programming. And it's really, really
You
changing very, very fast.
You and I both used to work for Disney, which owns ABC, and they own Hulu. And Hulu, if you recall, they put Dancing with the Stars, which was one of the biggest shows on ABC. They put it on Hulu streaming exclusively.
Yes.
I don't know if that's still the case, but that's what they had done to force people, because a lot of older people are like, what is this streaming? I don't want to, I
Yeah,
just want to turn on the TV.
exactly.
And right, but they forced you, that was like the favorite show of older people. And it was like, now, younger people too. I don't want to take it away. It was all ages. Dancing with the Stars like transcended all. But that was a way of saying, nope, we're going to make you get the kid in and show you how to stream. You're going to do this. This is the future. And even a lot of cable boxes now are switching over to a streaming method where you
Yes.
don't just turn on the TV, you actually have to click and choose boxes. So it's sort of, as you're mentioning, it's sort of getting you into the way. Yeah, that's the way. And it makes me laugh. You say fast TV, just so that everyone knows. FAST is an acronym for Free Advertiser Sponsored Television. Before I met you, Gerald, I had heard of it, but I didn't know what it meant.
Right.
And it's fascinating. The kids think this is like wonderful. Forgetting, like you said, it was grandma TV. That's how TV started. It was free
Yeah.
advertiser sponsored television before it went to cable and satellite. Now it's come full circle. So it is, when you look at how fast it's growing, you can understand, because I remember working in commercial television that the survey showed Gen Z is a group of people not used to having to pay for stuff. They turn on the computer, they get free internet in a lot of communities. They get free internet at school. They get free meals at school. They don't like the idea of having to pay for television or pay for internet. So fast TV is exactly up their alley.
And also they are so used to getting their entertainment from YouTube. If you talk to anyone, I mean Gen Z or younger, if you talk to teenagers today and you say to them, "Who's your favorite celebrity?" They'll look at you like, "Who's your favorite musician? Who's your favorite YouTuber?" They'll list 10 of them. And
Wow.
it's shifting in terms of who the audience is looking to and where the audience is looking. Think about when that generation enters the workforce, the YouTube entertainment generation enters the workforce. And that's going to be really, really soon how much that's going to shift the industry again. We're looking at 10 years or less.
Mm. I remember my former general manager in one of the TV stations saying exactly what you're talking about. It was about 8 or 9 years ago. And he told me, number one, that TV news in New York City market you're going to go from like 5 daily newscasts to 2 or 3. And it's already, you see it happening. TV stations they just don't have the advertising anymore. It's just not there because advertising is shifting to streaming and internet because there's more bang for your buck. They could get 1,000 ads for the cost of 5 on broadcast TV. That's one. And then, hey, come on over to us. We're happy to take your money. But
Of course.
but that's one of the reasons why we did this. I mean, look, not just to talk about us. I came from commercial broadcast television. I'm now on a streaming platform, right, on a fast channel, because I see, talking to you, that this is the future right here for television. This is where it's headed. And I work for us, and I work for another company that is a fast news channel, as you know, Salem News Channel. And this is the way it's distributed. And we have millions of people watching this way. 5 years ago, who heard of Mr. Beast? He's one of the wealthiest men in America. YouTube
Exactly.
sensation. It just is proof of what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean it's going to continue to change. If you think it's confusing now, just wait until the technology continues to change. And we're also looking forward to next gen TV, where broadcast television stations who have the towers that send out the signals, they're all in the process of upgrading, an expensive upgrade over the next decade to 4K. So right now, if you have an antenna and you get channels over your antenna. A lot of people who are primarily streaming do have an antenna, so they can get their local affiliates like their NBC and their Fox over the air. And a lot of people can do that and get a pretty decent digital signal right now. But those TV stations, they divide their signal into smaller, lower quality channels, and they can offer you one high quality channel, or they can offer you 4 or 5 lower quality channels. And it's lower quality in terms of the image, not in terms of the product.
Okay.
And
Right.
and then you can have like a few different channels. Some of them have movie channels or Western channels or all these channels, and they're really good and really successful. But when they upgrade to 4K, they're going to be able to offer potentially dozens of channels on their spectrum. And there's even talk that they can offer some kind of direct connection to your TV, possibly internet from those towers, or some kind of talkback communication where you can order things and have access to internet through these channels. So think about what that's going to do. If you have a pretty decent antenna that you can buy for $100, you put it up and suddenly you can get 400 channels. That's going to be another game
Yeah.
changer. So this
And
keeps changing constantly.
It's a hybrid, right? So what'll happen
Yeah,
is, from what I was reading, is your TV is getting the image, the 4K image, which, by the way, and this is not condemnatory of cable. When they send the image on cable, they have to compress the image. So even
they
though you're
do. Yeah,
getting somewhat, when you get the image broadcast, it's pure. So if you look at a 4K, or even in some cases an 8K image from a broadcast tower on your smart TV, it'll jump at your face. It's
yeah.
unbelievable how
But very
crystal, because you
few are broadcasting at 4K. Very,
have,
very
right.
few. If you can
That
find it, check it out. It's actually cool.
Cable usually gives you a sample channel just to give you an eye to try to market it, right? There's like, if you have cable or satellite, go to the 4K channel. They just put it
Yeah,
up there so you could see what your TV could look like down the line when
exactly.
this
Yeah,
happens. So
exactly.
that's fascinating. And it's coming. But what apparently would happen was, to get back to what you're saying, the over-the-air signal would be what's on your TV, and then your smart TV automatically, without having to plug into cable, would receive an a Wi-Fi signal. With that Wi-Fi signal, while you're watching the over-the-air signal, you'll see, say, a bureau or a dresser that you like. You'll be
Hmm.
able to technically interact using your
Or look at
remote
my
control.
shot. You could say, "Hey, I want to buy that coffee syrup behind me,"
Hey, you
and
click
that
on it,
maybe.
give you a
Uh,
link.
correct. Correct.
That's
Think about that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
much
great.
is going to change.
There used to be a website, but you had to have the app to do that. That used to
Yes.
do that. They had furniture and you could click on, they put little price tag and you can click on it and find out where to buy it. But this is actually going to be on everyone's TV for almost every show you
Yeah.
watch, which
There's a
is just
company called
incredible.
there's a company called Telly that's bringing out some new hardware, and they're actually giving the TVs away for free. And it's two screens. So you have a bar screen below the main television, and you have constant advertising underneath. Most of it is intended to be what's on the screen, and I can click and I can buy and order through Amazon, or however they're going to do it. Um, they haven't shipped yet. I'm on the list. I'll let you know if I get one. But
Please.
a lot is changing. The tech is changing. We got to keep up with it, and we got to stay ahead of it.
I love it. And it's kind of an exciting time to be alive. Unfortunately, for a lot of people who work in traditional media,
Yeah,
it's really a frightening change, because a lot of
it
people are
is,
losing their jobs.
and there's nowhere to
People that you
go.
and I both work with, yeah, there is nowhere to go. What we call legacy media, the old channels 2, 4, 5, 7
And
in New
you know what's
York, and
happening,
they're
Ken?
great, by the way. I'm not knocking them, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
a lot of our colleagues who leave traditional television, a typical landing spot would have been PR, public relations,
Right.
and that industry is really has slowed down so much because you can't find earned media anymore. And earned media, if you haven't heard of it, it's when you contact a media company and you get them to write an article or do a spot about your client.
Right.
No one does it anymore. It's very, very rare. So it's getting tougher and tougher to be in the PR space, and those jobs just aren't there anymore because it's now direct content creation. So people are going direct to the content creators like us, or YouTubers, or Hulu, or and going direct to them, and rather than going through PR.
Even ad agencies, not only PR,
Yeah.
but ad agencies are struggling,
Yes.
because you go online, you could put in some of the parameters of what it is you're advertising. AI will
Hulu,
spit out
Paramount Plus, all of that. You can go on. I can launch an ad on Paramount Plus and Hulu in 10 minutes.
yeah,
10
crazy.
minutes.
And in fact,
Crazy, isn't it?
Mr. Wonderful is one of the people behind one of those companies. Of course, that's why he's a billionaire, or
Yes.
multimillionaire at least. And again, using one of his is one of several companies, one of the AI companies. Put in your parameters, pay $1,000 or whatever, and it'll divide it up among the streams of all these different services, Hulu, Paramount
Yes.
Plus, whatever, as you're talking about, which is just amazing.
It is.
Gerald,
It really is.
we could talk about this for hours, so please,
We
let's make this
could.
a regular segment,
You got it.
if you're available. All right.
All
New
right. Sounds
Jersey
good.
founder and streaming expert Gerald D'Ambra, thank you for coming on camera this morning. Usually he's behind the scenes, and we got him in front.
Thanks,
We
Ken.
appreciate it. By the way, I like the coffee bar sign behind you there. I'm going to see if
Yeah,
I
it's a
can
whole
order it
coffee. It's a
online.
whole coffee bar, Ken. It's not just a sign. It's a
Love it.
whole coffee bar. Yeah. We'll have to have
As
you
I
over for
sit
a
here
coffee.
and Awesome. As I sit here and suck down my fourth cup of the morning. Thank you, sir. All right. It is now 22 degrees, 7:51 is our time. And when we come back, Tulsi Gabbard is one step closer to Senate confirmation to become the nation's director of national intelligence. Plus, meteorologist Mike Pavetta says a mostly sunny day, but more wintry weather could be on the way by tonight and midweek. And we're going to take your calls, 888-658-0234. On New Jersey Mornings, we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back. 7:53 is our time. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Winter weather headed our way. Let's go straight to meteorologist Mike Pavetta with a wintry midweek forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning to you. Some winter weather indeed on the way, beginning later on this afternoon in southern New Jersey, hence the winter storm warning across portions of Atlantic and Cape May counties, even over toward Cumberland County later on today. The area you see in purple is the winter weather advisory for not as much snow, but enough to be impactful, specifically for the morning rush and even later in the overnight. I think most of this gets going after the school kids get out from school, but just in time for the evening commute, because by 4 o'clock today, you will see that snow not only falling, but accumulating, especially north of Atlantic City into the late evening drive after 6 or 7 o'clock, and then basically spreading north by 10 o'clock tonight. So most of New Jersey picks up snow, but the extreme portion of southern New Jersey will really see a heavier snowfall this time, with all of this wrapping up by tomorrow at sunrise. With that northeasterly breeze pushing in, it's a cold, kind of cloudy day tomorrow. And then round two comes in tomorrow afternoon with the light, steady rain later on tomorrow evening, right around the same time it begins today, this time just liquid for tomorrow, and then a light snow at the same time in the northern section of the state. So tomorrow evening snow happens time-wise about the same timing as it does today. It just lingers for a few hours shorter into the overnight hours, with the snow wrapping up just after midnight, but that steady rain taking us into tomorrow night and Thursday morning. So a little bit longer of a duration with the liquid this time around, as that rain continues through Thursday morning's commute, making it pretty messy. It all clears out by Thursday evening, and then we look really good for Friday. But the snowfall total is impressive. The further south you head, that dark shade of blue could be up to 5 or 6 inches of snow heading into tomorrow evening. And then we have the northern sections of New Jersey tapping into maybe 1 to 2 inches when all is said and done. So not impressive, but enough to be messy, especially going into Thursday morning when all wraps up. Right now, temperatures begin at 19 degrees in Morristown, 28 degrees in Newark, and it's not all that breezy, but just a little bit of a gusty breeze up to about 9 or 10 miles per hour. Brings that wind chill down to 26 in Toms River and 30 over in Atlantic City. So plenty of cold weather around. Makes it feel like it's between 4 and 7 degrees colder than yesterday. Out on the ski slopes there in Sussex County, feels like 20 degrees colder than this time yesterday due to that fresh snowpack and clear sky overnight. So with round one coming in tonight of snow, round two coming in tomorrow evening, with the snow changing to rain. That rain lingers into Thursday morning, and with it, milder weather. That means a big thaw, so we'll see a lot of melting, a lot of big slushy puddles to hop over, all clearing by Friday, where there will likely be a pretty deep freeze coming in for Friday morning. 26 degrees to start off Valentine's Day, but at least it's sunny all afternoon. So the thaw commences later on in the afternoon Friday before some more rain and snow comes in this weekend. A lot of weather on the 7-day. We'll show it to you coming up in a bit.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. At 7:56, we have a couple of traffic incidents. A crash on 287 northbound north of exit 3. That's New Durham Road in Edison Township. We have all lanes closed there right now. A crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound. That's south of interchange 15W I-280 in Newark. All lanes are open, but the vehicles are now on the right shoulder. And then we have a disabled vehicle of the Holland Tunnel, South Tunnel, eastbound. Midway through the tunnel, one right lane block. That's causing a mess at the Holland Tunnel right now. Route 21, we have a crash northbound Clay Street, Mount Pleasant Avenue in Newark. The right lane is closed. And we have a crash on Route 29 southbound north of Warren Street in Trenton. 2 left lanes closed. There's about a 15-minute delay, so use caution. 7:57, the Senate voted mostly along party lines last night to advance Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to serve as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence, putting her on a path to confirmation later this week. The 52-46 vote brings the Senate's debate over Gabbard's qualifications close to an end. When confirmed either today or tomorrow, she will be in charge of putting together President Trump's daily intelligence briefing and leading 1,700 plus employees at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, overseeing the nation's 18 intelligence agencies. Trump tapped her for the nation's top intelligence job because he viewed her as a disruptor who will take on Washington's establishment. 7:58, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has accused the FBI of corruption, alleging the Bureau leaked plans for immigration enforcement in the LA area. Noem condemned the leaks and has vowed to take action against the leakers, possibly up to imposing a legal sentence on them. Trump's campaign had helped Republicans sweep to power. A large majority of Americans surveyed support the deportation of illegal migrants. And remember those 80,000 armed IRS enforcement agents that Biden had hired to go after tax-paying Americans? They are going to get reassigned to the southern border to help Border Patrol. If they don't like it, they could leave. President Trump said yesterday a fragile ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas should be canceled if Hamas doesn't release all the remaining hostages by midday Saturday. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that be because that's Israel's decision. But as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
The president made those comments after he saw the release of several hostages. He talked about them being released in dribs and drabs, but those several who were released looked extremely emaciated. 7:59 is our time. A major U.S. tolling company that was sold to a Singapore-based firm under the Biden administration, reigniting national security concerns over its links to China after it won the Easy Pass contract for the New Jersey Turnpike for $250 million more than Conduent Incorporated, the Newark-based company that had operated it for 22 years. On top of that, we find out this former Nashville-based company, that's what it was, Transcore, is now owned by the Singapore-based company, Singapore Technologies Engineering, and it has close ties to China. So do the math. If you have Easy Pass in New Jersey, the new company now has access to all your sensitive personal information, your name, address, etc., and China could gain access to it. 7:59, when we come back, Apple fans, listen up. Some new products being released this week, and we're going to tell you how rural cell customers may be able to beta test Starlink cell service for free. And meteorologist Mike Pavetta has the wintry Garden State forecast. Also taking your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, streamed on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We're coming right back. Morning and welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. It's 8:01. Wintry weather headed our way. Straight to meteorologist Mike Pavetta with a check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. We start off this afternoon with a round of snow across southern New Jersey. It's all due to this storm that's sitting offshore by this evening, allowing for a lot of moisture to be pulled in, especially LBI and south. So Atlantic City going to get whacked with a good round of snow later today, especially for you in Cape May. Typically, when a northeasterly breeze, you can see the direction of those arrows here, pulling in some of that ocean moisture, sometimes brings in too much warm air, allowing for rain. But this time, there's plenty of cold air in place, and that'll be a conveyor belt of moisture, allowing for that snow to get going, especially as the storm deepens as it pulls away. So the area in red, heavy snow, winter storm warning tonight. Everywhere else across the state, that light shade of white showing a light round of snow, but I think it won't be all that impactful, given that we'll only pick up about another inch or two. So pretty much as impactful as we saw Saturday night storm that gave us a light round of snow across most of New Jersey. Here's where the system is right now, working across the mid-Atlantic. We'll drop a lot of ice across the mid-Atlantic today, and then as it transitions eastward, stay as all snow tonight across New Jersey. So with the conditions deteriorating after about 3-4 o'clock today, just in time for the evening rush, when you find yourself south of Toms River, you'll tap into that snow for the evening rush. I think the snowflakes begin working their way northward gradually across Ocean and then Monmouth and then Mercer counties later on this evening throughout the evening rush. So probably a light accumulation on the roads closer to 5, 6, or 7 o'clock tonight. And then we see that accumulation continue overnight, with that snow changing over quickly and remaining all frozen throughout 10 o'clock tonight as it works its way north, right up until about Sussex County. There will be some places in extreme northern New Jersey that really just pick up a few flakes because the storm center is so far south that that snow may not even reach portions of the northern sections of Sussex County tonight. It all wraps up quickly, so tomorrow morning we clear out. It's a quiet, cloudy day with temperatures around freezing all Wednesday afternoon. And then by tomorrow evening, our next system comes in, and this will provide all snow to the north and a little bit of rain and freezing rain and sleet across central and southern New Jersey. So that rain this time will compact whatever accumulation falls, adding to the accumulation of the sleet that's still on the ground, and just make for a real mess and really cause drainage issues. That's going to be the problem with some really big slush puddles developing in time for Thursday morning. Notice how it's all snow and a little bit of sleet mixing in, but it wraps up just after midnight into Thursday morning with that rain lingering across most of the state through Thursday morning's rush. A southerly breeze pushing in milder air. Temperatures reach the mid 40s. So that melting and that thaw continues throughout Thursday. Look at that, even 50 in Mount Holly by Thursday afternoon with some breaks of sun. That'll really do some, it makes for some issues with that melting, and really all that water probably doesn't have a place to go because those catch basins are basically frozen with that 2 to 4, maybe as much as 5 or 6 inches of snow that falls. Then we head into overnight and Wednesday morning, and you see that little bit more of snow moves in, up to 1 to 2 inches total when you combine both storms in northern New Jersey, and then a very slushy, compact 2 to 4 inches down in central and southern New Jersey after that rain falls, kind of making a real mess of things when it all packs down. So the ice impacts over the next few days, predominantly north and west portion of the state. This is because we'll have that thaw in the afternoon and then the refreezing again at night north and west of 287. So in the area shaded in yellow, there's minor impacts, even limited impacts there for areas shaded in blue. And that extends not only toward Warren County, but even portions of Hunterdon County, where it gets really cold, especially later on at night. So this weekend, after a beautiful sunny day on Friday, we have more rain and snow. And it comes in starting off as snow on Saturday, transitioning back to rain for Saturday night, staying as rain on Sunday morning, and then back to snow for Sunday night. So it's kind of a mixed bag of both things going back and forth. We'll talk more about that and time out the weather, Ken, with your next weather update. Give you a timeline of what to expect over the next few days and hours. That's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you. 23 degrees at 8:06 on New Jersey traffic in a hurry right now. And we have a crash on 287 northbound north of exit 3, New Durham Road in Edison Township. One right lane is closed. Also, a crash on the GWB upper level eastbound New Jersey side, Fort Lee, one center lane blocked. That's causing a mess on the George Washington right now. We also have a crash on Route 29 southbound north of Warren Street in Trenton. The right shoulder closed, causing 15-minute delays. A crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound south of interchange 15W I-280 in Newark. All lanes are open, but vehicles are on the right shoulder. And we have a disabled vehicle at the Holland Tunnel, South Tunnel eastbound, Mid-Tunnel in New York. One right lane blocked. Finally, Route 21 northbound Clay Street by Mount Pleasant Avenue in Newark. One right lane closed. I lied. We do have one more to remind you of. There's emergency construction still at that sinkhole on I-80 eastbound at exit 34 in Wharton. All lanes remain closed. People are being diverted off. Again, it is 23 degrees at 8:07. Apple fans, listen up. Word is we have some new products slated for release this week. And rural users of cell phones, where your service is almost non-existent, you may be able to finally beta test Starlink's satellite cell service for free. With more on these stories, our tech expert Fisher joins us. Fisher is a brand and digital strategist who can be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with the username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Good morning. And what are we looking for from Apple devices with satellite technology and connectivity?
Well, yeah, and I'll start with the rumors of the new devices that will support that functionality. So first up, we have the iPhone SE, and that's kind of a mid-flight iPhone. If you remember, Apple usually has their event where they roll out the major phones at the end of the year. Well, they do these mid kind of series flights, and iPhone SE, which debuted in 2016, had its last update in 2022, is getting a refresh. It's the most affordable iPhone out there. It doesn't offer all the new fancy features of the more updated yearly iPhones, but this is going to be a big one. It's going to align more with current iPhones that drop the home button, that little button in the bottom center, in favor of a full screen. You'll have Face ID. They'll change the charging port to USB-C from the Lightning charging. It'll update the chip, the processor, to the A18 chip, which is more in line with the iPhone 16, which is the current model. It'll support Apple Intelligence, have a 48-megapixel main camera, and Apple's in-house 5G modem. So that's a humongous upgrade. They're also rumored to be rolling out Power Beats Pro 2. Now, Power Beats, you could think of them as sort of the sporty AirPods. So AirPods are, usually for your phone calls and for listening to podcasts, things of that sort. If you're a runner, if you're a walker, if you exercise a lot, Power Beats is usually the design that you go with. They're going to be new and slimmer, come out in multicolors, purple, orange, and light brown, in addition to the black, the standard black. And they'll also have a heart rate sensor in the earpiece. So if you don't wear an Apple Watch or Fitbit or any of those devices, you'll be able to get your heart rate off it. Now, also rumored, and this we're definitely looking for the Power Beats Pro and the iPhone SE4. The other rumors are a refresh to the MacBook Air, iPad Air, and iPad Pro. And I do have to mention, in April, there is rumor, and I'm very excited about it, of the HomePad. And you can think of that if you're a Google user and you have the Google device in your kitchen or in your bedroom, the Nest Hub or the Nest Hub Max, and the Amazon Echo Show. They're the devices with the screen, so you can ask for the weather and do all the things in your house. So that's rumored to be in April, and that is very exciting for the Fisher household.
I can tell you're an Apple guy. That's all good. I'm a Samsung guy. I know you like to make fun of Samsung people sometimes. Like, we're happy with our 2 tin cans and a string.
Yeah, just you. It's that's it.
Just
Nobody else.
Do you know that one of my little nephews in Florida saw a picture of one of the old rotary dial phones and said, "But where do you zoom in on the screen?" I thought that was awesome. And right away, I thought you would say, "Oh, he's going to be a Samsung guy," but that's you.
Yeah, well, I know. When you call me
Look, there's no question. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was saying I know you're Samsung when you call me to help you with your phone. So
And the texting, yeah, thank you. And the texting shows up as a different color, right, when I text you?
yes.
Because of that?
And it's interesting that you asked me to blow the text up on your phone to the max amount. So you're only actually seeing a couple of words and apps on your screen.
Must it degrade to that? All right, sir. I love it. Thank you very much, tech
Well,
expert Fisher. Oh,
we do want to
yeah,
talk
let's talk
about the
about the
T-Mobile and
satellite.
Starlink. We didn't
Yes,
hit that,
please.
so it's a great deal. So a lot of the newer phones, both for Apple and for the Google brand, Samsung and the like, offer this satellite backup in case you are out of cell phone and Wi-Fi range. Well, T-Mobile has teamed up with Starlink, but they're offering a beta not just for T-Mobile customers, but also for those on Verizon, AT&T, and any other carrier. For both the iPhone and Android brands. Right now, it's only texting. Eventually, they're planning on rolling out data and voice. Now, this is the important part, that this is not I'm going to suddenly make phone calls and look up web pages on satellite. This is for emergency purposes. So the use of this would be a default by your phone where you're completely out of range if you're hiking the Appalachian Mountains, or you're just out of range. Again, you mentioned earlier rural users who might be between cell coverage. The phone will notice that it doesn't have any cell service or any Wi-Fi, and it'll flip over to the Starlink service. The beta runs through July, and you can sign up at tmobile.com. And if you're accepted, you will remain free through the end of the beta. And again, it's tentative for July. If you're a T-Mobile customer, you can sign up early and add it to your plan for $5 as an early adopter, $15 if you wait, and anybody else could also add that service for $20. But again, if you're always at your house, you always have service, you go into the city, and that's how you live your life, and you're not planning on hiking or taking any trips where you're going to be out of cell and Wi-Fi, it's not really for you at this point. But you could still sign up for it. You can get it, and if you're in that situation, that's great. But standard with iPhones as of now in iOS 18 is the Apple already has a default satellite service, so you technically have it. This beta would just be utilizing Starlink through the T-Mobile. So.
And that's really right now, it's really for emergency cases, right? I know that, listen, for what it's worth, you in the middle of big hiking areas in New Jersey, or you hike in the mountains, or you go into these big parks, there
Yeah.
are no cell towers. And I have gone on hikes in the past where you get 5 minutes in, your cell service ends. And if you were using a mapping app, you can't use it at that point. So
So
that's where I guess this beta service would help.
it would eventually, but right now, again, it's only for texting. Now, I just want to note that Google Maps, Apple Maps, they allow offline downloads of
Offline,
mapping.
yeah. Mhm.
So if that's the case, make sure before you go hiking to set it to offline. It'll download. It's usually a region. You would download all of New Jersey, and then also a lot
Yeah.
of phones have breadcrumb. I know on the iPhone it's a default. I know Google phones do have it as well. Android phones.
Mhm.
It's called breadcrumb, so it will utilize GPS to track you back to where you originated, where your car would be in that case.
Fascinating. All right. Thank you so much, tech expert Fisher, brand and digital strategist, found on X, Threads, and Instagram at Fisher, and through his website, fisher.media. Sir, have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. It's 8:14. Vice President J.D. Vance steps onto the global stage at the Paris AI Summit today, where he's likely to deliver a candid message on Europe's regulation of artificial intelligence. Pam, let's take a look at that video of him out there. Thank you. He's getting off the plane there in Paris. The summit is today. He's likely to deliver a candid message on Europe's regulation of artificial intelligence and moderation of content on big tech. The mood on AI has shifted as the technology takes root from one of concerns around safety to geopolitical competition as countries jockey to nurture the next big AI giant. On the summit's first day, French President Emmanuel Macron urged Europe to cut the red tape to make it easier for AI to flourish in the region after Trump unwound the regulations here, laying bare how far strategies toward AI in the US, China, and Europe have diverged. It is now 8:15. Coming up, some serious snow headed our way. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Workweek Garden State forecast. Also taking your calls at 888-658-0234. On New Jersey Mornings gets back here in 2. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 23 degrees at 8:17. Now meteorologist Mike Favetta to find out what the Garden State forecast is going to be like with a midweek winter storm possibly on the way. Mike, good morning.
Yeah, Ken, quite a bit of snow happening across southern New Jersey beginning later this afternoon and into tonight. And with that, we'll see some snow develop across most of the state, even going into tonight across northern New Jersey. So that snow begins late. We're fine through the evening rush, especially northern New Jersey. And then it's another round of snow for tonight. That all wraps up by tomorrow at sunrise. So it's quiet during the daylight hours on Wednesday, but another round of snow, ice, and rain comes in tomorrow night and last through Thursday morning. That'll make for a mess again for Thursday morning's rush. At least we catch a break on Friday. There'll be plenty of sun, a beautiful way to wrap up the week. With weather today starting off cloudy and then transitioning to snow by this afternoon in southern New Jersey. Temperatures hold just above freezing, but it's cold enough for it to snow, especially with that cold air really statewide as those clouds thicken up across the day. Give us our snow beginning later on this evening. You see it on the Futurecast taking over later on this evening, widespread across the state tonight, and then moving out by tomorrow morning. But round two comes in tomorrow evening in the form of rain south and east of the Turnpike, snow north and west of the Turnpike, could put down another inch or two across northern New Jersey and just compact and make for some really slushy, messy conditions by Thursday morning, especially as temperatures climb into the 50s by Thursday afternoon. So another mess for Thursday morning across most of the state. And those are the precip chances, even going into Thursday with a higher chance of rain. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, another round of rain and snow, predominantly rain, but any drop we get is great to help the drought situation, considering how it'll be on the order of an inch or two, maybe as much as 3 inches in northeastern New Jersey by the time the weekend is through. And that will help abate the severe drought situation that just crept into northeastern New Jersey last week. The extreme drought in red that continues for central and southern New Jersey, especially Ocean County South, and that's where the percent of average rainfall also continues to remain quite dry. We started the season very dry, and it continues very dry with a rainfall deficit of anywhere from 1 to 2 inches, depending on your location across the state. So the map shows the clear weather exiting today. The snow moves in tonight, all snow this time for tonight. And then we see that sleet and rain take over tomorrow evening and last into Thursday morning, predominantly wet for tomorrow night. Another round of clear weather moves in for Friday, and then the weekend looks wet. So we'll take you hour by hour this weekend. Starts off 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, where some light snow starts falling and then transitions over to a plain rain as the warmer weather moves in. But it's a steadier, heavier rain through Sunday morning that will give us our next round of wet weather, and that clears out by later Sunday night. So Monday starts off quiet, and I think that quiet weather, we actually get a couple of days of clear sky in here going into early next week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week actually look quite decent. The 7-day forecast, it's busy. Going into tonight and tomorrow, there's our snow changing to rain for Thursday morning. Quiet and dry on Friday, but there is that melting and refreezing effect that occurs for Friday. So certainly some black ice possible, especially early on in the morning. And then another round of snow changing to rain, then rain back to snow for Saturday and Sunday. It's a pretty messy weekend with clear sky on the way for President's Day. A cold start at 22 degrees Monday morning, but at least we warm back up to around freezing by the afternoon. Southern New Jersey has that snow beginning today, later on this afternoon, sticking around into tomorrow morning, likely wrapping up just by daybreak. And then for Thursday morning, there's our next round of rain that lingers into the afternoon, clearing for Friday, and more rain for you this weekend with temperatures in the mid-50s by Sunday. So the thaw continues, at least as we head into the weekend. And I think, Ken, we'll see quite a bit of that wet weather around as we head into the next few days. You know, it's just so dismal and dreary. The camera's like, no, I don't want to show it anymore. I'm giving up. And that's what's happening.
That should be a message, Mike. If the camera's cutting you off, I mean, come on. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. We'll check back with you just a little bit. All right. It's 8:21 right now. 23 degrees is the temperature. We have our on New Jersey traffic right now there's a crash on I-80 westbound west of exit 47A, I-280 in Parsippany Troy Hills. 2 right lanes closed. That's a mess. And we have a disabled tractor trailer on Marlin Street southbound approaching Kellogg Street in Newark with a left lane blocked. Well, it has got to be a tough situation being an elected official today, trying to communicate to your constituents with so much media and all the distraction out there. Some New Jersey lawmakers are bridging the information gap with an innovative approach to communication. Joining us now is Senator John Bersicelli to discuss the State House Minute podcast that he co-hosts with Assembly members Heather Simmons and Dave Bailey Jr. Welcome, Senator Bersicelli. Good to have you with us.
And good morning to you. Good morning to the audience.
Well, it is no secret there's a decline in traditional media. We were talking about this earlier in the broadcast. So it must be so much more difficult to get out your message. How has that affected the way that all politicians communicate with their constituents?
Well, first of all, Ken, it's just not healthy, and decline may not be a strong enough word. I mean, it's just fallen off the cliff. Never thought that I would see it move this way so quickly. I have friends in the business, publishers, various people, and it's just like disappeared. I mean, I used to be a motion picture machine operator, which means I was a projectionist. That trade is gone too, but that didn't have an effect on society like this lack of traditional media, particularly print media, does. It's not healthy for government to act in darkness, and I don't mean there's anything intentional to that, but often we feel like we're laboring in obscurity because no one knows what's taking place. Now, by the way, the work you're doing, very important. The thing we're doing, which is not unique, it's simply a podcast called State House Minute. I noticed, by the way, the Trump White House yesterday introduced what they call the MAGA Minute with their press person doing that piece. So the idea is just try and get out there and find people, because you used another very important word. Americans are very distracted, and they're in a lot of different directions. It's hard to find out where they are, where their eyeballs are, and how to reach them.
Senator, it's funny you say that because I worked in television and radio 39 years. I worked at Channel 7, Channel 5, WOR Radio, 1010 Wins. I worked all over the place. And you mention this to somebody under 30, they look at you like you got four heads. They have no idea what you're talking about. Legacy media is strange to them. In fact, I had a physical therapist I was at. He was in his mid to late 20s. And I had mentioned that I had been on WOR Radio, and he looked at me like, what's that? And he said, you know what? You have a great voice. He told me you should do a podcast. And I said, well, a podcast is simply talk radio and talk TV, but it's just streamed over the internet. He, again, did not understand it. He had no clue. Like, he had never been introduced to the fact that there is something called terrestrial broadcast radio, terrestrial broadcast TV. And we're not talking about, this is an educated person who's a doctor of physical therapy, who's in his mid to late 20s. He's not 8. But this is where we are. So when you talk about the fact that it fell off a cliff, literally with the advancements of smartphones, how quickly they advanced, it's all about streaming Netflix and getting the quick headlines. And then a lot of younger people just move on. So I can imagine how difficult now as an elected official, you need to talk to your constituents. So even though we're doing podcasts, you and I mean, this is nothing more than a live podcast. I know older people may not know how to get it, and younger people may not be interested in watching it. So this is where you and I both have a challenge.
It's a major struggle to get people's attention, and government is not necessarily the most exciting thing unless there's scandal, something salacious happening. And of course, in New Jersey, we have our fair share of all that. So sometimes we're very good television, but it doesn't happen that often. So day in and day out, it's pretty quiet, but a lot of things happen that affect a lot of people, and getting people's attention. And I'll give you this example. Last year's campaign, we did not, a 30-second commercial for us was a long version. Everything we did was 15-second hits, and we were buying 30 seconds. If we were buying some broadcast television, we were putting 15 seconds together as opposed to doing a 30-second spot. That's how things have contracted.
Senator, your podcast covers a lot of different topics. You cover everything from electric bills to help for small businesses. Who picks the issues each week? There's three of you.
Well, first of all, we work, as do most people across the state that are serving in these offices, work collectively as a team, the three of us. So it reflects the kind of feedback we're getting from people and the issues of the day. Utility bills are really difficult at the moment. They're going to even get higher. There's a contraction of generation capacity against electric need. It's affecting the underlying bills. An issue that Heather Simmons takes up that will be on one of the podcasts. Surprisingly, insurance does not cover a lot of menopause care for women who are looking for answers and looking for treatments to help them through that particular time in their life. We take that up. We retail theft, for example, although New Jersey is very fortunate we didn't see happen here what happened in California. We're working to refresh the statutes for these organized gangs that are going into grocery stores and drugstores and shopping without paying, for lack of a better term. So these are just issues of the day that we're looking to communicate to people about, to get their feedback, to make sure we're in the right direction at the best that we can be.
Do you guys take calls and emails and things like that and answer questions?
We will, but the first 4 episodes are not structured for that. But that will be as we move along here, we will be doing that. As soon as we build the audience a bit to make sure there's someone out there to talk to us other than us talking to each other. So that will come.
And little by little, it will, and it's gaining traction. The fact that you're getting out to media like this, and we spread the word for each other. I mean, you will help get you a little audience. You help get us a little audience, and it actually works very well. That's kind of the podcast way, because we each have our own small followers, and then we expose our followers to one another. So you're right now you're on YouTube, Spotify, social media. Has that helped you to reach a broader audience, especially younger people? Because I know that is one of the biggest challenges.
It's very difficult to get younger people's attention. It's a block of New Jersey residents that, when they're eligible to vote, tend not to vote with the kind of frequency that the older New Jerseyans do, that are more focused on items of the day with regards to running households, for example. So, getting younger people is always difficult. I mean, there's a lot of competition for their attention. Their lives are very complicated. Of course, everyone's life is very complicated. So, communicating, as you know, it's nothing more than marketing. It's public relations. We went out with the podcast. The first week, we were just over 5,000 views that we thought were authentic. How many in our legislative district? We're still trying to sort that out. We don't have a breakdown on age range, but it's a start. But Ken, to get the attention of young people, you either better be selling sneakers in a hip hop music world. I mean, they're not interested in government. They don't care about budget issues because they don't see it as affecting them just yet.
Now, this is why TikTok has everything 20 seconds long. That it gets there. It's all about quick spurts of something that gets your attention. And I mean, 2 years ago, I had never heard of, see, now I'm forgetting his name. Oh my gosh. The millionaire who's on there who gives away Mr. Big, is that his name? I'm forgetting his name now, but he's Mr. Beast. Oh, thank you, Pam. God, Pam is in my ear, saving my life every day. But Mr. Beast goes around. Who hurt this guy? He's a geeky looking guy. He's worth tens of millions of dollars, and he just gives away, money everywhere he goes. He showed up at the American Dream Mall. He had about 20,000 people show up. Meanwhile, our age, our generation, I'm 57, hurt the guy. But you ask somebody who's 8 or who's 12 or who's 20, they follow him. So this is the thing. It's unbelievable how that phone, that little device in our hands, has transformed society, sometimes for the better, sometimes not so much. So it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds. But I want you to come back, please. Again, the name of the podcast is State House Minute, and 5,000 people checking it out. That's a really good start, Senator. So congratulations on that. I hope you have 10 times that before you blink. New Jersey State Senator John Bersicelli, or as I would say, Burcicelli in Italian, right? Thank you so much for being with us.
Right.
All
Thank
right,
you,
sir.
Ken.
It's good to have you on. You're a good man. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.
You bet. It is 8:28 right now, and when On New Jersey Mornings returns, we're going to take your calls, 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Lots of folks used apps to play Super Bowl bets. Those bets are taxed. So how did the Garden State do? Plus, a midweek winter storm could be headed our way. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta joins us with a full wintry Garden State forecast when On New Jersey Mornings returns after this. morning. It's 8:32. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, and right now we head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the wintry Garden State forecast. Some stormy weather headed our way, Mike.
Yeah, later on this evening, some heavier snow falling in southern New Jersey, Kevin. And I think going into the next few days, there will be some rather, interesting weather that takes over, especially with the winter weather advisory across portions of central New Jersey, and even more snow tonight into tomorrow in northern New Jersey, even though there are no winter alerts posted just yet. That may change, especially with our expectation of 1 or 2 inches tonight and another 1 to 2 inches tomorrow on top of that. Now, with the future cast showing that round of snow get going early on in the day into this evening, it spreads across New Jersey later on tonight. With that cold air in place, temperatures remain in the 30s, so a steady snowfall throughout tomorrow morning before it all clears out, and we're just left with clouds for most of the day on Wednesday. Then we head into tomorrow afternoon, and our next round of snow gets going. That's the light shade of blue here across northern New Jersey, but some mixing and rain take over across central and southern New Jersey. And here's the problem. With rainfall that falls after a 4 to 8 inch snowfall in southern New Jersey, that not only compacts the snow that has fallen, but also makes for some drainage issues, because now that the snow is melting, it's waterlogged, it has no place to go, the catch basins are frozen, and that'll likely cause some drainage and flooding and big slushy, melty puddles into Wednesday morning's rush as that rain continues. So it gets pretty messy going into later on Thursday morning, with temperatures climbing into the low 50s by the afternoon. There's your 50 degrees over there toward Tom's River and down by Mount Holly. So pretty messy throughout the end of the week, even though we have lots of sunshine forecast for Friday. A couple days of winter weather until we get there. Notice that dark shade of blue down toward the tip of New Jersey, down by Cape May, 4 to 8 inches likely, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches working their way northward up to Atlantic City and through LBI. And then overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday night, that additional inch or two takes over across northern New Jersey, could tap into maybe upwards of 2.5 inches there of all snow before that changes over to a plain rain on Thursday morning as well. Temperatures right now start off in the mid-teens across some parts of the state, like in Sussex, Morristown, 30 right now in Newark. So it's at or below freezing statewide. A cold start to the day. Not much wind right now, but that changes later on tonight as the wind gets going, making the wind chill feel much colder, as it feels like it's currently in the 20s statewide. And with the temperatures that feel anywhere from 2 to 5 degrees colder than this time yesterday, it'll stay pretty chilly over the next few days. While the milder trend comes in for the weekend, despite the fact there's beautiful sunshine on Friday, Ken, there is no sun this weekend. More rain mixed with a little bit of snow. Kind of a messy go of things for President's Weekend.
It reminds me of the old British song, "In the Bleak Midwinter." This is exactly, sorry to sing. It's exactly what it is right now, the bleak midwinter, right? All
Yeah,
right,
this is it.
Mike. And I promise I could imagine your poor little Nina was like, Daddy, who's singing? Sorry. All right, sir. We'll check back with you in a little bit. I promise. 8:36. We do have a guest standing by. We'll get to our guest in 30 seconds. I just want to let you know we have a crash on I-80 westbound, west of 47A, I-280 in Parsippany, Troy Hills. 2 lanes closed, and on the right side, that's causing some big delays right now. We also have emergency construction still at that sinkhole on I-80 eastbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes are closed. Everybody is being diverted off, and delays at the Holland, the South Tunnel eastbound New Jersey side at the toll plaza. Lanes are open, but it's now 40 to 45 minutes traveling from New Jersey, and 20 minutes if you are at exit 14C from New Jersey 139 at the Tunnelly Circle. 8:37, and the phone lines are open right now, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. The Super Bowl isn't just about the touchdowns and the halftime shows. It's also about the big bets and even bigger wins. Cha-ching. But before you start celebrating your windfall, there's a catch you might not have considered. You got to pay taxes. Yeah, even if you gamble, you got to pay taxes. Here to guide us through the maze of tax obligations on gambling winnings is Nicole Bononi-Wilson, a tax controversy manager at Prager Metis. I love that title, tax controversy manager. Tell us why that title, Nicole. Good morning to you.
So tax controversy involves in dealing with various taxing agencies in which you either owe the IRS, you're under examination. We try not to be too controversial, but we have our moments. So
So that's fascinating, by the way. I love that. Let's start with the basics. If somebody makes a personal bet, obviously, are they going to go report that if they didn't, if the IRS doesn't necessarily know about it? We're talking here really more on in terms of people who use the apps, right, and use the official legal betting services.
So sports betting, as we know, is now legal in 38 states, but any income, all sources of income are taxable, especially gambling winnings such as that. It's taxed as ordinary income. So say, you have your office poll and you put in the beginning of the playoffs and you were lucky because let's be honest, we all want to win and you won
Mhm.
$500. You have to report that on page 1 of your 1040 filing. It is
Right.
taxable. So
As I once won $500 in a state lottery, and I remember a friend of mine at work saying, that's the state. Do not forget to file taxes, pay taxes on it. For the few dollars in taxes, it literally is just a few dollars. You don't want the headache and the meeting later, as they say, right? So if somebody, I mean, it's a whole different issue now that we have gambling apps in New Jersey. If you win using one of the gambling apps, do you get a form at the end of the year from your winnings?
So with the federal, it's if you're $600 or more, they will provide you with what's called a W-2G. Most casinos, most agencies will have some form of withholding. However, not all. New Jersey, specifically the state, it's if you win $10,000 or more. And
Mhm.
again, no, those are just for the winnings. The losses and how it's treated and how you claim them is a different ball game. So.
Tell us about that because years ago I didn't think you could deduct losses from gambling. In fact, I remember there was an old Odd Couple show. I don't know if you're old. You're probably not old enough to remember the Odd Couple, but
I am
Felix.
actually.
Oh,
Thank you for
okay. So
that.
Oscar Madison, there you go. Oscar Madison was a heavy gambler, and I remember him saying that I can't deduct this on my taxes, and that literally has stood out in my brain. I'm 57 years old since I was a kid. So, are you saying that losses from gambling could be tax deductible?
Well, not necessarily. So your gambling losses can be deducted up until your gain, so your win. But it's not done on the front page of the return where you're going to report. And this is your federal filing. So for your federal, you report your income on the front page. And if you're using TurboTax or some other filing source program, it will let you input it. Now, where you deduct the losses, and this is where it gets a little tricky, is on the Schedule A, which most would know as itemized deductions. However, if you are not taking an itemized deductions, because let's be honest, a vast majority of taxpayers take that standard deduction, then you cannot claim the losses for the federal.
Mhm, mhm.
New Jersey is different. They allow you to what's called net on line 24. So you can subtract automatically your winnings and then your losses and input that number. But your federal, you have to report the winnings. And then if you're itemized, then you're able to get the losses. But then there's another catch which gets tricky because we all know we have online betting and then we have casinos.
Right.
We're fortunate to have a vast majority out there. So let's say you go to Atlantic City for a weekend with the friends and you're at the casino and you hit big on a let's say a slot machine, you win 5,000. But then throughout the year you did your sports betting and you lost 6,000. You
Mhm.
cannot net those two together. You have to keep very detailed records and keep it as separate transactions. And to simplify this a little, to make this easier, let's say you go to Atlantic City at the Hard Rock, you end the night there, you travel down to Oceans. Now that is a new session. Whatever gambling you do in Oceans, you have to keep separate records of those wins and losses. So not as straightforward as you think.
Because in my mind, my thought was if, in your brain, in my brain, if you say spend $10,000 over the course of the year on gambling, whether it be lottery or whatever else, legal gambling. At the end of the year, maybe you won a total of $4,000, that you had a net loss of 6,000. If you kept meticulous records on all of that, would that then be a net loss up to the winning amount? So in other words, would your $4,000 be thus negated by the 10,000 that you had spent?
For your New Jersey filing, yes. For the federal, only if you itemize your deductions. So
Gotcha. Not if you do an easy form. You can't do that. Not with a short form, but only if you itemize. Sounds to me like it might be safer to invest a few dollars and have a professional tax preparer do this the right way. I always say for the amount of headache it would save, it's worth the however much, whether you go with a CPA or another tax preparer, have somebody who's a little more experienced than you. Because I have tried the TurboTaxes of the world. It's not to single them out. And there's always a point where they say something and I don't understand what that is, where I pray, God, I wish I had a tax preparer there. So somebody like you, that's why you exist, right? You make our lives easier. Thank you so
and not
much.
controversial.
Exactly. I love that. It is so good to have you on. Please don't be a stranger. Nicole Bononi Wilson, a tax controversy manager at Prager Metis. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on New Jersey.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Come back again, please. 8:44 is our time. Coming up, meteorologist Mike Favetta. Again, we have a big midweek winter storm in the Garden State forecast, especially to the south. If you're south of central New Jersey, it's going to be worse than to the north, but everybody's going to get something. So we'll have the details in just a moment. We are back in 2. And a very good morning to you. I'm just reaching down to my phone. You caught me because look at that. See that? We're live. Our Mike, excuse me, Gerald Diambra, whom we had on a little earlier, I said, why aren't we on Twitch? 5 minutes later, he got us on Twitch. So now we are streaming live, twitch.tv/on New Jersey. I mean, Mike Favetta, I know we both know Gerald very well, but this guy, it's like you just say, hey, you know, I wish I had a tissue. Before you could finish the sentence, there's a tissue in your hand. He's unbelievable. But it's like literally in 5 minutes, he got us on. We're streaming live. So now let's add, when I go through that lineup of all the social media, we are now on twitch.tv/on New Jersey, as you see beautifully displayed there along the bottom of the screen. So let's do that.
And
And I know
when you and well, it's true, but I wanted to add, when you and I are not live, the weather updates constantly on ONNJ.com and on our streaming platforms. You get the live radar, live futurecast. I mean, it's just minutes, fresh data right off the press. That's the updates 24/7 on our channel. So yeah, it's a really cool system we have going.
And how much does it cost the viewer? Oh, nothing. So it's free. It's all free. We do all this work for you for free, so take advantage of it. But one thing that unfortunately is going to cost us some time traveling, probably a winter storm headed our way.
Another round of getting up early, brushing the ice and snow off the car, because that'll happen later on tonight, going into tomorrow morning. With the snow beginning this afternoon across southern New Jersey, it takes over in northern New Jersey later on tonight and brings in another round of winter weather. So most of this is done by tomorrow morning, leading to a pretty quiet day tomorrow, but there'll still be a couple of inches on the car tops, a couple of inches to clear out, making for a messy start of the thing of a go on Wednesday morning. And then with another round of snow, ice, and rain that comes in tomorrow night, that lingers through Thursday morning. So more of a messy scene on Thursday morning before it all clears out, leading to lots of sun on Friday. So for today, temperatures start in the 30s and stay there thanks to that snow that gets going later on this afternoon. Light snow begins falling across southern New Jersey. The storm just off to our west, leaving before that the clouds that are in place now. And then we'll see the skies darken and that snow get going later on this evening. So first rounds come in after 4 or 5 o'clock across southern New Jersey, move across northern New Jersey, and then exit by tomorrow morning. So it's a quiet day on Wednesday afternoon with nothing more than cloudy skies and cold weather after that fresh snowfall. Then a little bit of warmer weather works in, and that's why with temperatures in the low 40s, we have some rain tomorrow night across central and southern New Jersey. Northern sections of the state, the blue and the pink, that's some sleet and mixing with snow for tomorrow evening. So there will be a light accumulation additionally across northern New Jersey, but the real concern is the rain that falls after the snow could be heavy at times, and that's why it'll make for some messy flooding, big icy, slushy puddles on the roads for Thursday morning's rush. Thursday afternoon, temperatures climb to near 50 with some breaks of sun, so it gets warmer. And with that, we look ahead to a nice dry day on Friday. No chance of rain on Friday, nice and clear. Great weather there. Until we get to the weekend, more rain comes in on Saturday and Sunday. You can see those rain chances there quite high. So after we say goodbye to the clear sky today, the snow moves in tonight. All of that here moving in across New Jersey, the storm center just offshore, allowing for that big snowfall across southern New Jersey. Then tomorrow with the warmer weather, here's that warm front just to our south, pushing in some milder weather. That's why it's predominantly rain across central and southern New Jersey. As that wet weather moves in, it moves out for Friday, a nice clear finish to the work week. And then guess what? Next round of snow and rain comes in by Saturday afternoon. So one system after the next as those storms just ride along the jet stream. Saturday afternoon has a light snow across northern New Jersey. Rain south, transitions to all rain statewide. Could pick up a good inch or two with this system, leading to maybe more flooding potential with the catch basins frozen and the sewer basins all clogged up with ice. And then that exits by Sunday afternoon. Might end as a few snowflakes, but at least next week begins nice and quiet. We look to be storm-free for President's Day and Tuesday and the day after that. So some great news there. 7-day forecast, really busy, especially tonight into tomorrow in northern New Jersey. More rain for tomorrow evening after the light snow. Quiet on Friday, but Saturday and Sunday, messy. Starting off as snow, changing to rain, and then ending as rain, maybe a few snowflakes on the tail end for Sunday before clearing by Monday. The South Jersey forecast, busy still because you have more of a threat of deeper snow for tonight into tomorrow morning, up to 5 or 6 inches across southern New Jersey. Clearing by tomorrow afternoon. Rain takes over tomorrow night into Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, well, dry for Friday, but Saturday and Sunday look wet with those temperatures back up in the 50s. At least we look forward to Friday and Monday, right? Bookends of a nice sunny start to the weekend, and then starting off next week, a holiday for many, many people are off on Monday, so enjoying the clear sky there, Ken, as we go into next week. It's going to start off, well, a little wintry, a little busy here, but we've got you covered here on New Jersey.
Look at you, always the optimist. All right, meteorologist Mike Favetta, thank you so much, sir. Always a pleasure. It is 8:51, 25 degrees now. New Jersey politics fans, listen up. New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein's in now, and he has the inside edge.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, and New Jersey's new law that raised the number of petition signatures you need to get for the gubernatorial primary ballot from 1,000 to 2,500 has, at least so far, reduced the field of candidates by one. A guy named Rob Canfield announced on Monday that he was calling it quits. He's out of the governor's race because he didn't think he could get 2,500 Republicans to sign his petitions before the March 24th deadline. Canfield suggested that the petition threshold was now just too high for him to compete. I don't know. I don't know when people got the impression that running for governor was supposed to be easy, but it raises an important question. How do you define what a candidate is? This question, I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. It's up to each of you to decide that on your own. I mean, is someone a candidate just because they say they're a candidate, they announce that they're running? Is that enough, or do you have to have some minimum standard, maybe a political base or some legitimate supporters, some money maybe? It's hard to separate the real from the pretenders, and that comes with a lot of second guessing. I mean, not viewing Canfield as legitimate was an easy call. The guy lost races for mayor, Brick, and Ocean County Commissioner as an independent. He lost 2 races for the Brick School Board. There was nothing to indicate that he might win the Republican primary. It's a little bit tougher when someone has a base, no matter how small. The most recent entry into the Republican race is Mario Kranjak. He's the former mayor of Englewood Cliffs. His town is about 5,000 people. It's about half the size of another candidate, Jim Fazzone, the former mayor of Burlington City. I mean, are either of them real? To decide that, I'll be looking for some flicker of life, maybe big turnouts at their campaign events, a growing social media following, maybe votes at the convention. And yeah, I'll be looking at money because, you know, whether you like it or not, you can't win a statewide campaign with zero. One more thing, some advice to my friends at Gannett. When you publish a list of candidates for governor, there's one thing that is indisputable. You have to be alive to be a real candidate. And Gannett's most recent candidate list included an independent named Karen Zalatel. Sadly, she passed away in August. That's it for today. I will be back tomorrow, and thanks, everybody.
Only in New Jersey is it a prerequisite that to be a candidate, you have to be alive. There are probably a lot of places where that's not a prerequisite. 8:55, New Jersey politics fans love that man, as do I, David Wildstein. Other news now, the Senate voted to advance Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to serve as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence. That puts her on a path to confirmation. The 52-46 vote brings the Senate's debate over Gabbard's qualifications close to an end. When confirmed today or tomorrow, she will be in charge of putting together President Trump's daily intelligence briefing and leading 1,700 plus employees at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, overseeing the nation's 18 intelligence agencies. 8:56, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has accused the FBI of corruption, alleging the Bureau leaked plans for immigration enforcement in L.A. Noem condemned the leaks and has vowed to take action against the leakers. President Trump's campaign, of course, was ostensibly led to power because of the enforcement of people who are here illegally. A large majority of Americans surveyed support the deportation of illegal migrants. And remember those 80,000 armed IRS enforcement agents that former President Biden hired to go after tax-paying Americans? Well, President Trump says they are now reassigned to help Border Patrol agents at the southern border. 8:56, President Trump said yesterday a fragile ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas should be canceled if Hamas does not release all the remaining hostages midday Saturday, though he added that the ultimate decision is up to Israel. Trump has responded to Hamas, saying that it would delay the further release of hostages in the Gaza Strip after accusing Israel of violating the 3-week-old ceasefire. Trump said that after the freeing of 3 emaciated hostages Saturday, it was time for Israel to demand the release of all hostages by noon this coming Saturday, or the war would start again. When asked what would happen to Hamas if the hostages weren't released on Saturday by midday, the president said, "Hamas will find out what I mean." It is 8:57. A major U.S. tolling company that was sold to a Singapore-based firm under the Biden administration, reigniting national security concerns over its links to China after it won the Easy Pass contract for the New Jersey Turnpike for $250 million more than Conduent Incorporated, the Newark-based company that had operated it for more than 2 decades. We're coming up on the end of the broadcast. We thank you, as always, for watching On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Don't forget, you could always catch us on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, X, and now Twitch.tv. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 7. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching On New Jersey.